I was outside setting out a box of directories. This morning, I was at the assessors conference in Morgantown, and I set the directories out at 9 o'clock, and by the time I finished my presentation, getting ready to leave here, they were gone. So help yourselves. They wanted to take your box. I said, no. I got a box with the assessors, a box with the circuit clerk. It's a pleasure to be here. And I zipped over the mountain from Morgantown to Martinsburg and got here just in time for lunch, which is perfect timing. And I'm going to stay for the banquet. I don't usually get to stay for your all's banquet, so I'm really looking forward to that. I want to thank the circuit clerks, first of all, who serve on our board and who will be serving on our board and who do your legislative work. So before that, though, I want to mention I love this book. And you will notice in Fayette County that my family has a history of circuit clerks. And I have never seen this picture before, but there's Thomas Hamilton and there's A.W. Hamilton. I think A.W. was my great-grandfather, I believe. Is Danny here? Danny right here? I remember him going to talk to my mom and getting some pictures from her. So I have a proud circuit clerk history. As far as the Association of Counties goes, I want to thank very much our board members for this past year. They will be changing in June. Betsy Castle serves as your vice president, and then we had Virginia Stein and Sue Ann Zickafoos, Brenda Miller and Donnie Cobb, and then Bud Stover is a past president, so he will remain on our board. We can't even get rid of him if we wanted to.
Not as long as your feet.
As long as we are. And then I want to thank Betsy Castle and Kathy Gatson, who served as your legislative co-chairs for this year, and I have to say they were busy this year, so I thank them very much for their time. Coming into office in June will be Brenda Miller as vice president, and Virginia Stein, Laura Storm, Donnie Cobb, and Paul Flanagan. So have some new faces with the circuit clerks. And I appreciate the volunteer time that folks take to serve on our board. Looking forward to working with everybody. So now we will get started. Okay.
Where's Kathy when you need her, huh?
I'm used to a little remote clicker. So. Yeah. All right. See, once I learn how to use one thing, then they switch it up. I'm just going to run through a few bills that you might be interested in. I don't know that they'll even necessarily affect your office, but the one is the Senate Bill 267. It just ensured that West Virginia courts have jurisdiction over fraudulent use or unauthorized use of purchasing cards. And this can be in the county where they're used, or it has a variety of different applications, where fraud occurred, where it was used, or where the public employee lived. So it just clarifies that. So I thought you might be interested in that. It also clarifies where it would be prosecuted. Senate Bill 307, and I have to confess, in preparing for this conference, I realized that the legislative summaries that I sent out back in April used the vetoed 307, not the one that passed during the special session. So I will have to admit to that mistake because there is a fairly significant difference in the two. And I just don't know how I did that, but I did. But Senate Bill 307 is the pretrial diversion in the community corrections program. It authorizes it. It's permissive. No county has to do it, but they may do it. If it is utilized, it might save on regional jail costs. That's one of the goals of using pretrial diversion. The other issue that was added to that bill regulated bail bondsmen. And the bill that I summarized, which I'm sure everybody read with fascination and knows exactly what I'm talking about, but the bill that I summarized had it that the West Virginia Insurance Commission would regulate the bail bondsmen.
I read that.
I knew you would have read that. I knew I couldn't test you on it. And as it happened, the governor vetoed Senate Bill 307 and put a different version of it up for the special session. And that version did not, it provides regulations for bail bondsmen, but it doesn't actually put them under the West Virginia Insurance Commission. And quite honestly, I discovered this not too long ago, and I really haven't had a chance to look at other changes. So when I get back to docs, I'll make a correction on that. So that bill number was vetoed. The new bill number would be one for the special session, and I looked it up this morning, and I have now forgotten it. So I should have written it down. But it was repassed on March 14th during the special session. Okay, this is where we get into the circuit clerk bill. Senate Bill 405 was the circuit clerk's legislative priority. It protects your jurors. And we've worked on this bill for a couple or 3 years. Is Betsy in here? 3 years. 3 years. And it always goes a little, so far and no farther. You always end up with a problem. Last year, the year before last, the problem was the Association for Justice, which is better known as the Trial Lawyers Association. They were concerned about certain parts of it, so we worked that out, and then that was in 2012. In 2013, we just couldn't, it just kept falling through the cracks. So in 2014, I asked Senator Cookman, who is a retired circuit judge, to sponsor it, which she was glad to do, and he helped shepherd it a little bit. But I've never seen this happen. The funny thing was, this was being discussed in Senate Judiciary. And basically all this does is mean that you have to have a written order from the judge in order to release juror information. I love it when I'm prepared. Usually, if whatever questions you're prepared for is either exactly what you're not asked, or you're not called up at all. But if you're sitting there just cold, not paying a bit of attention, boy, that's when they'll call you up to the mic and ask you a question out of the blue. Well, I was prepared for this one, and I have to thank Kathy Ganson, who faxed me a juror questionnaire form. I pulled that thing out of my briefcase. Every committee this was in, even the attorneys who worked for the committees appreciated it because they weren't real clear on what all information was requested. So in Senate Judiciary, they asked me what all was on the juror questionnaire. And I said, well, I happen to have it right here. And I read some of the things like address, ages of children, place of employment of spouse, this kind of thing. And you could just see their jaws drop. That this kind of information could get out to inmates and so on. So it was really interesting and very helpful to have that very specific information. So that bill passed, and then it really went through the session without a problem. You just have to make sure that once it gets to the end of the session, the Judiciary Committees get so busy, we just had to make sure that House Judiciary got it on their agenda, which they did. They liked this idea so well for pettit jurors in Senate Judiciary that they originated a bill for grand jurors to keep that information confidential. That was Senator Ron Miller, who many of you know used to be a circuit clerk, and the biggest problem they had in their county about juror information being requested was for grand jurors back, I think, in the rainbow murder trials, I think you referred to. So they originated a bill, so grand juror information is now protected as well. So I think those are really good initiatives that the circuit clerks accomplished. The Senate Bill 458, we talked about this, should we oppose it, support it, stay neutral, and I think the general consensus was just stay neutral. It doesn't affect your office, it's just another fee that you collect, but we tend to stay out of those things and not oppose or support. But it does increase filing fees, and then it adds a new fee for a very specific purpose. And you'll notice in your handout that these are, you have much more detailed information. And that fund will go to low-income persons' civil legal services. And this bill's been tried for a couple of years. I think it was last year, they did try to put some amount kept by the circuit clerk's office. But we really didn't pursue that this year. There just reaches a point you just can't get everything accomplished. And I think we discussed that, and just decided not to pursue a fee for circuit clerk, something for you all to keep. So anyway, I hope we did right on that. That's that one. A new fee. Does somebody have their handout right in front of me? Does the new fee go into effect July 1st? Thank goodness. I've been trying to make sure that any new fee or any increase in fee is not one of those 90-day dates, but is July 1st, because it makes it so difficult. So, great. I just thought you might be interested in this one. It's standards for court reporters. I don't know how much you all deal with them, but it sets forth some guidelines and regulations for court reporters as well as court reporting services. This is just a general bill that I wanted to mention because you all as the circuit clerks are employers, and minimum wage goes up January 1st, 2015 to $8 an hour, and January 1, 2016 to $8.75 an hour. I wanted to mention this one also. It was a bill that the retirement board wanted, and I was a little confused by the language, so I called my contact there at the Consolidated Public Retirement Board and said, what exactly does this bill do, or what does it change? Well, they were having a problem, not so much with county folks that are in PERS, but state. But as you all know, the IRS is cracking down on taxable benefits. Like, they really are cracking down on personal use of a company or county vehicle, or clothing that's can be worn outside the office. It's not just work clothing, things like that. Taxable benefits. They were trying to use cell phones. They did finally acknowledge it is just too hard to have one cell phone and try to figure out what's personal use and what's business use. So they gave up on that one. But taxable benefits go towards the amount that you have to pay taxes on. And so what was happening at the state level is they were trying to add that to their salary for pension benefits. So if they were paying taxes on an extra $500 for the use of a vehicle for personal use, they were trying to add $500 to their salary, and that would boost up their pension a little bit. This was the quote that was most helpful to me in understanding it. Just because it's taxable doesn't mean it's pensionable, if that makes sense. I added this bill just because West Virginia Association of Counties has a long history of kind of watchdogging pension funds. Back before my time, the association was very active in whether or not pension funds could be invested in stocks. And some of you may go back to those years, and it was very, very controversial. I included a little bit of history in your handout. There's an article. Jack McClung, our attorney, was cleaning cleaning up his office, and found that, and I forget what year it's from. It's blaming the Association of Counties for the demise of the stock authority to invest our pension funds in stock. But what this bill did this year, and I'm a little wary of it. I do sit on the investment management board as a non-voting member, and I do sit through very long meetings. A lot of due diligence takes place when our pension funds are invested. But some of the restrictions, like how much percentage is in this kind of stock, and how much percentage in they're lifted now, they're gone, they're repealed, and it's all replaced by the prudent investor standards. So just want to make everybody aware of that. You have a history of being opposed to it.
Does that go back to the, am I thinking correctly when, I'm not going to say who it was, but we had a treasurer of state who,
I think a lot of the wariness
is from that?
goes back to that, although ironically, that was not
Okay.
stocks. We weren't investing in stocks
No.
at the time, that was bonds. But yes, I think the leeriness of getting into the stock market was predicated with that scandal that occurred. And then, or like, it wasn't a scandal, it was loss of, a big old loss of revenue is what it was, loss of pension funds. And then, when they now make real estate investments. People are very concerned, and I think rightly so, that we don't make these investments with our pension funds for political reasons. And that is the big concern. But the prudent investor standard doesn't allow that, but I think it's something we all should keep an eye on. This bill is of no interest to anybody. We'll just skip right through it. I could write a book, but it would be interesting to me, maybe of this. But those who worked on it got a heck of a civics lesson this year. It's amazing. You all have now accomplished a 12% salary increase. It took the 2012 session, the 2013 session, the 2014 session, finally got done in special session, to get 1.5% for every year since you haven't had a pay raise. That is a lot of sweat and work for 12%. But no one is, we don't look a gift horse in the mouth of the legislature. 12% is 12% more than we have right now. So beginning July 1st, all elected county officials get a 12% salary increase. Now, the long saga of this is way too long for my time here. I am going to present to our board of directors when we meet in Parkersburg. I try to look for the good that comes from bad. This was a mostly bad experience this year, in the last 2 years. So what lessons have we learned? So that's the approach I want to take. I haven't talked this presentation over with anybody. I have it on PowerPoint. There's some things that need to be said and lessons that need to be learned, and so I'm doing it. But one of the lessons learned, and I think this is no news to anybody, no county officials organization should, whether it's one group or everyone, should wait even 6 years, because 6 years quickly became 8 years, and that's just too darn long. And then, while 12%, when you average it out over 8 years, is not a very big salary increase, it is a large incremental increase. And we should use smaller, more frequent increases. And that would probably mean that more counties could afford them also. So I think that's the number one lesson learned. This bill went back and forth. I could not actively work on it. Back in August, the Commissioners Association did somewhat of a surprise vote. After supporting the pay raise bill for 2 years, they voted to oppose it, although actually the language was do not support. I'm not sure, I will never be convinced that all commissioners voted to oppose, because do not support can be neutrality very easily. So, and I did not see I did not see very much active opposition at all. But the fact that we didn't have unanimous agreement meant that I was out, and actually the Association of Counties was out. The only thing I could do was provide information, which I did need to do because I've got the historical knowledge for this. For example, it came out of House Finance, where they sort of quickly rewritten the bill, and we discovered that the bill that they wrote actually would give prosecutors in several counties a pay cut. And I've learned a lot in my about 17 years on this job. And one thing is, you really don't want to make prosecuting attorneys mad. You really don't want to cut their salaries. So we got that fixed. That's just an example of things that you just have to know, and when you see them that are incorrect. So the 5 groups, assessors, circuit clerks, county clerks, sheriffs, and prosecutors, got together and worked on a bill themselves and hired a lobbyist, Frank Hartman. I think he did an excellent job, and especially kind of thrown into a new subject for him. I think everybody enjoyed working with him. And I have to say, he had a dream team with him. We had lots of folks in and out during the session. I think we would have had a whole lot more had the weather just not been so sucky. But your dream team, primarily, they were there till midnight on the last night of the session. They were there. I wasn't even there. I planned to take a few days off. They were there during the special session. But the ones who were there, a lot, and really it was their connections that got it done. They working with Frank, were Donnie Evans. So they were either known as Frank's Dream Team or Donnie's Angels. Betsy Castle, Jan Pass, and Susan Thomas. Those are the ones that in my mind were there a lot. And we talked a lot, and we laughed a lot, and we drank a lot. So we cried a lot last night. At 11:30, last night of the session, when everyone was expecting it to be concurred with, Senate, House to Senate, Finance Chairman stood up and said, the Senate refuses to concur with the House amendment. And you could have heard a pin drop. Everybody was stunned. It's 11:30. Session ends at midnight. Not a darn thing can be done at this point. Even more telling, at midnight, when the president strikes the gavel, I've been there every midnight for I don't know how many years, a couple of decades. They're always clapping, you know, patting each other on the back. There wasn't a sound. Not a sound. Not a sound. I think they realized, oh my gosh, we just killed the county officials' pay raise. It is our fault. And it was bad. Within a matter of a day or two, Senate President Kessler and House Speaker Miley were actively working on the governor to put it on a special call. My personal advice to you all is, as an association, you should write a thank you to the governor, the Senate President, and the Speaker, because that would not have been on the special call, obviously without the governor, because he makes the final decision, but without the pressure from the Speaker and the President. And I know others helped, but they're the ones with the most direct access working on the special session. Also, as individuals, I would recommend, because this was difficult. I mean, 3 freaking years and a special session. I would rather be beaten than go through this again. If you know of your own individual legislators who helped or that responded to a call you made or you visited them at the Capitol, write them a thank you note. It will mean a lot. And it will mean a lot the next time county officials go for a pay raise. They will remember that it was appreciated. What we don't want them to think is that it was not appreciated or that they will blame. Oh, well, I didn't really want this pay raise, but the legislature passed So we need to let them know, county officials need to let them know that it is appreciated and their efforts are appreciated. So that would be my personal advice to everyone here who is going to enjoy the 12% increase. The auditor's test was a point of controversy. It never has been before. Never have I heard the issue raised. It was always a simple test. Do you have enough new revenue to cover the increase? I think the highest increase is about $56,000, something like that. That's salary and benefit increase. The auditor's test has been changed. It now looks at more than 1 year. It looks at fiscal soundness. Many county officials went to a meeting with Auditor Gaynor and his staff where he discussed how he's going to do this test. And my takeaway from that meeting is that he emphatically stated that it will be his goal to try to certify as many counties as he possibly can, because he thought 8 years had been way too long and that it was deserved. And I think everybody really appreciated him saying that. So the auditor will be the one to certify whether a county can afford it. If any circuit clerk in here has not signed to take the salary increase, I would advise you to do so before midnight, June 30th. It is a one-time shot. You can't change your mind next year. So even if your county cannot, if you don't think your county is going to get it this year, like on July 1, 2015, the auditor does his test again for July 1, 2016. But if you haven't signed that agreement before July 1st of this year, you are not eligible to take it. So just want to make sure everybody understands that. You don't get caught next year having not signed it. So I could go on and on about what all went into this, but it's done, it's accomplished, and we can move forward now. Does anybody have any questions on that particular issue? Or any others? When I mentioned a couple things going on with the association that are kind of exciting, we are moving to a new office. 5 houses were for sale in the first block that is east of the Capitol, first block there. I've never seen 5 houses for sale there at one time. We got a very good buy on one of them, and renovations are being undertaken to, it was a residence. It'll be a wonderful office. It'll be spacious enough that if you all have a training, and we can't fit 55 circuit clerks, but if you want to have kind of a large circuit clerks meeting or get some staff together, we will have much more room for things like that than we did at the old office. And we've got stove, we've got a refrigerator, and we had a refrigerator, we have a dishwasher. We are pretty darn excited. We're right next to the Municipal League on the boulevard, so I think it'll be a great space, easy for everybody to find. We'll have nice horseshoe parking in front, and very excited about it. Jack McClung said, "You will do anything to get me to clean my office up." That's been the challenge, is getting packed up. We have a big health conference that we're not putting it on, but we're part of it. Health is one of West Virginia's major issues. We are on the bad side of almost every health spectrum you can think of, and my big push has been every elected official is a leader. It doesn't matter if a circuit clerk really doesn't have that much to do with health. You're a leader in your county, and some of the simplest things can be done to improve your county employees' health, your citizens' health. So it's a big coalition conference. I'm really excited about it in McCann. And then we're working with WVU Extension for the Community Leadership Academy. I think some of you were there last year. It was excellent. WVU Extension is a wonderful resource, and working with them has been a pleasure. So I hope some circuit clerks and your staff will attend that also. So, and the other program we have going on is Summer Steps. Anybody in here like to walk for exercise? I love to personally. And this is a simple little tracker. You can put in your county. Monroe County won in 2012. Wood County won last year. And Wood County, the amount of walking they did in both counties was just phenomenal. But anyway, it's a simple tracking system. The challenge starts June 1st to August 31st. You can walk for your county, and maybe your county can be the winner. It's a lot of fun. And you can challenge yourself as well. So those are some things we're working on. And that wraps up my presentation, unless anybody has any questions or comments or concerns. Don't even get started on complaints about the session. Between the weather and the water, the faction in the Senate, and the House was just unruly altogether. Really, it was awful. It was awful. Worst session ever.
We just appreciate everything you do, Patty.
Thank you. I think those that came to the Capitol a lot realized, well, I better love walking, because you walk. I have never walked so much on icy alleys or that. I mean, all of us who walked from the office to the Capitol, it was a sheet of ice for a record number of days. So that was not fun.
We appreciate it.
Thanks.
In fact, we appreciate it so much that I would like to give you this 2 nights free lodging and 3 days of golf at Twin Falls State Park.
Oh my gosh,
Thank you very much.
thank you so much. Right back to Twin Falls ever since we had a board meeting there. It's a lovely spot. Thank you so much. Not being an elected official, I can't say thank you all very much, and I appreciate all of you that did come to the Capitol, make calls. Circuit clerks were very, very diligent in doing that, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.